Welcome, everyone. Can we wait for a few minutes so that other people join and then we'll start with the webinar? All right, people are joining. I think we will start at 5 past, so let's just wait a bit more. And just a reminder, so we're recording the meeting and it's being live streamed on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube as well.
Star, no, yeah, how are you?
I'm good now. Yeah, we're just waiting for people to join. We'll give it until 5 past and then we'll start.
Your live stream, is it a public live stream or is it for the benefit of the individuals that work there?
It's a live stream, public stream, yes.
Why are we public streaming, may I ask?
So we keep a record of it if anyone else wants to refer back to the webinar after we've done the webinar.
And if I don't agree to a live stream?
No, so you don't have to share your screen or your face. It's just the host and the speaker can share their face. So you don't need to show your face. Is that fine?
I wish I was told beforehand, but we can continue.
Okay. Okay, I think we have people that have joined. We have a good number. So welcome to our webinar, and I'm Star Bongo, the host for today. Our webinar is on performance management, and our speaker today is Molen Mukuze. So Molen Mukuze is a registered auditor. She's also a chartered accountant, and she's a tax practitioner as well. So at Brandmore, we are an accounting firm that was established in 2015. And up to date, we have branches in Zimbabwe and the UK as far. So we call ourselves accountability partners because that's what we live by every day. And then in terms of our services, so we offer secretarial services, we offer consulting services, we also offer audit, external audit, and we also help companies to prepare for the audit season. If we are the accountants, we offer those services. And then we also offer internal audit services, payroll services. We also offer human resource services and tech services. And last but not least, we offer accounting services, but the list is longer than this. Do not hesitate to contact us should you need any services to the bracket or anything else. We'll hand it over to Molen. Without any further ado, Molen, you can take it over.
Thank you very much, Star. Thank you everyone for joining in. Just to clarify, we have a YouTube channel, so that's why we are live streaming as well, and we always live stream our programs. So should you miss this one, obviously we do that for those people that who couldn't join in. So you're welcome also to even watch from the platforms. So welcome everyone. Thank you, Star, for the warm introduction. It okay, see why my slide is not moving. Okay, so thank you for that introduction, and thank you everyone. Those that are in the Zoom and also those that are in our various platforms on our YouTube channel, on our LinkedIn. Thank you very much for joining in. So just to reiterate, our objectives for today in this performance management webinar is to understand, to help leaders and organizational leaders, as well as owners of the business, on one, what is performance management, the key components of it, and the process. And we're also going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of not having performance management systems in your organization. And we will briefly talk about the performance management strategies that you can implement and how to implement performance management. Then we'll conclude our session. So just to start off, just to get to know who we are, those that are on our platforms, you can just put on a comment section, or those that are here, we are just running a poll now to understand our audience. Are you a business owner? Are you a manager? Are you a director? Are you an accountant? Or are you a CFO? So just feel free to indicate who you are, just to know you better from this. Okay, so far I have 38% business owners and 38% CFOs, and managing directors is 22%. I know quite a number of people haven't yet, especially those that are in Zoom, haven't yet participated. So we have 40%, which is great. 36% for business owners. That's okay. Without wasting too much time, I'm gonna end the poll now. Okay. Okay. Okay, so you know, when I have a poll. Okay. Do this. Okay, can you see my slide stopping? Okay. All right, so let's start by talking about what is a performance management. So performance management, some see it as a once-off tool or something like that, but it's a continuous, which is a continuous feedback or conversation between the leaders of an organization and their employees. The conversation ensures.
Marlon, sorry, we couldn't hear you. Can you go back to the start for what is performance management? I think there's a connectivity issue from your end. Okay, Marlon has left the meeting. She's gonna join us again so that she is her screen. I think she's fixing connectivity issues. Yeah, let's just give her a moment to rejoin the meeting. My apologies for that. Okay, and then in the meantime, as she's preparing, we are going to send a Google review in the chat where you can give us feedback on how you found the webinar, how useful it was, and any other feedback that you have for us. Thank you.
Okay, so. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. So I thought I was audible. I don't know what happened, but I just changed the laptop there. So where did you last hear me? Should I start all over again?
Yes, I think just start with the slide again so that we.
Okay, thank you. So sorry about that. I'm hearing. Okay, so like what I was saying, performance management, it's a continuous process where leaders or managers and employees have conversations about different aspects. For example, performance expectations, the priorities or the tasks that the team needs to focus on, and performance development as well plan that you would need the team to focus on, as well as the job responsibilities, because with the performance management as a continuous process, that's where you iron out issues that you might not have picked up. Someone might say, I didn't know that this is my responsibility. So as a continuous conversation, the job responsibilities might actually be streamlined there. So this actually assistant ensures alignment of the individuals within the organization with the organizational goals or the strategic goals of the company. So it's actually very, very important for you to have a performance management system in place. So, okay, so just to start off, we can look at the key components of performance management as a system. So these are the key components of performance management. So first of all, you cannot measure what you didn't communicate or what you didn't set at the beginning. So number one, the key component number one is goal setting. This enables, it helps you to establish clear objectives for the employees within the organization to know what exactly are they going to be measured on. So for you to know that, you actually need to set goals. So the first component of good performance management is establishing goals. Then the second one is to make sure you regularly assess, which is the continuous monitoring. Like what I said, that it's a process. It's not a once-off. Sometimes you hear some organization to say, no, it's now time for performance management. But performance management, it's a process. It's regular assessing employee performance against the set goals that you have established and the objectives that the employees need to achieve from the goal setting component. So it's very important to note that it's a continuous monitoring process. So number three is also performance reviews. So this is the periodic evaluation of employee performance. Obviously, every day it's a feedback or monitoring thing, but you as an organization now, just to formalize, you say our performance reviews, we do them quarterly, semi-annually, or every month, or depending on the organization that you are actually running and what's feasible within that organization. So performance reviews as a policy within the organization is very important to say, when do we do our reviews? Then the other thing is feedback and coaching. So performance management, this actually focus on developing the employee skills. So the reason for performance management is the alignment of the individual goals and the company goals, the alignment of the company goals to the individual that are helping in carrying out those goals. So within that, you are now doing feedback and coaching. You are focusing on employee enhancing their skills so that they have the skills that are necessary to actually meet the organizational goals. So, and also addressing the capabilities, addressing areas of weakness, and actually encourage continuous improvement and professional growth. The leaders of the organization need to know that not everyone have a zeal to self-improve. But if you don't have systems within your organization to encourage self-improvement and continuous growth, you'll find out that what actually suffer is the objectives, and the key objectives of the organization or the key goals of the organization will not be met because you are not continuously giving feedback and coaching and addressing the areas where the team needs to actually focus on. And one other component as well, it's a tool, it's a way of recognizing the top performers or people who are contributing a lot of value to the organization. So recognition and rewarding is one key component as well, where you are acknowledging or rewarding employees for their performance and contributions to the organizations, to the organization. So if someone has been, let's say you have already set your key goals and someone has consistently achieved what as an organization you have set for that particular person, that person needs to be recognized or actually rewarded for that particular achievement. So, but if you don't have a formal process of looking at that, you will not be able, you end up rewarding those that are not doing well, or end up not even recognizing those people that need to be recognized. Then also one key component as well, I think I mentioned it earlier on, is the the development and improvement plan. So within performance, you identify developmental opportunities for employees to enhance their skills and actually advance their career objectives. So it's very, very important for all those key components to be within your performance management process. So these are the key components of performance management. Okay, I just changed the laptop, so I'm struggling because of that. So obviously with the performance management process, these are the key things. It's just a flow chart to say, before you start with your performance management, you have your planning, and you have, these are the stages, and you have inspection, and you actually have your rewarding. I'm not going to go into detail with this flow chart process, but obviously under the planning, that's where you define key results, your key strategic results as an organization. And it's normally done from the executive, from the leaders, the owners, the executive, to identify those key results. Obviously, when you are doing the identification of key results, you include everyone else, but from stemming and knowing that this is what we are standing for in this particular year or in that particular period, it's done from the top executive, and the managers and supervisors, they now set cascading those key results in the planning section to the people that they lead within their divisional, which is setting key expectations down to the employees. So the objective of defining key results, obviously, is to make manager aligned to what the overall objective of the company. And and we also have your managers, your supervisors, their roles into cascading that. So if an organization, for example, have 5 key results to say, we need to expand, we are going to open 2 more branches, which is a key strategic objective or a key result that you want to see. Then the divisional leaders, now the marketing team, are coming to say, what are we going to do for us to be able to reach the other division is also looking at means and ways of how are we going to contribute to that divisional or goal. So we actually recently did a poll on LinkedIn where we looked at the following areas to say which of the following is a challenge for the management. So within the performance management process, so 20% say setting clear goals So, which is something that needs to be addressed. If as top managers or as top leadership within the organization, you know goals, it's going to be difficult to actually implement the process because no one will know exactly what is the company up to. So, and the other thing is 13% said giving constructive feedback, because by nature, people are always defensive to feedback, but you need to know how do you then link the feedback to the strategic objectives. So it's like you are giving a feedback to someone who didn't know what they were supposed to do. It's hard because the person can come and say, but it was never communicated that this is one of a key objective area or one of the expectation from the organization perspective. So it's very important. 60% mentioned holding employees accountable. So performance management, I call it a planning tool. You cannot measure what you didn't plan. So you cannot hold someone accountable if you didn't communicate that well to say these are the expectations, whether a person is being onboarded like this month or whatever the case might be. When they come in, the first two things that they sign is the employment contract and the performance contract. Performance contract outline all the key things that the person is expected to perform within the organization. So now when you have that set and signed, it won't be difficult to hold people accountable because the person would have agreed to achieve that particular expectation. And if the person doesn't understand, would have seek clarification. And if you have been giving extra feedback to say, we said we need 30,000 every month. We said we need to write business with 100,000 every month, but we are not writing. It's not difficult to hold someone accountable, if that is clear. So 60% said holding employees accountable, and 7% said motivating employees. So it's very important to, sorry. Okay, so I think those that have questions, I'm trying to see how we can do it. We're gonna have a question and answer sessions at the end of the section. So thanks, Shen. She just highlighted that someone has a question. Okay, so motivating employees is 7% said that it's an issue there. Okay. Okay, so let's go through the advantages of performance management. So remember, many people think that performance management is for big organization, even if you have 2 employees. So that's the base of organizational goals or growth of a company. So you need to make sure that you set that clear. Can you come assist me here? I don't know why this one is. Okay, so the advantages of performance management, number 1, it helps establish transparent and clear roadmap of tasks and successful, to have successful strategies. So the transparent comes only from performance management because, remember the process, like the key components that we spoke about, setting key goals, monitoring them, giving feedback and all those kind of things. That's how transparent comes up. So you won't have no one in the organization who will be able to guess, by the way, what are we supposed to do? So it helps establish transparent and clear roadmap of saying, guys, we are going this way and this is what we want to achieve. So everyone is needed to be on board. So it helps with that. So it also can help employees make improvements. So imagine if someone is reviewing themselves first time to say they were supposed to produce, let's say if you're in manufacturing, you were supposed to produce certain quantity of goods and you didn't for that particular month. As an individual, you'll be able to see that where are the areas that I need to improve for me to meet that specific target. So it can help employees make improvements and actually empowers them to take ownership and set goals and plan their developmental plan. So it's a tool that you actually utilize to make sure that the employees are at a position of empowering themselves and taking ownership of what they need to do. And Also, it inspires employees to excel, so leading to increased productivity. So imagine if someone is sitting at the background and say, I didn't meet my targeting. As a leader, you are not there. But because there is a process of reviewing themselves, they can say that I didn't meet the, how best can I meet that? So it inspires employee to excel, leading to increased productivity, also even to reduce stress and give a sharper focus to their goals and to the organizational goals. It boosts team spirit as well and opens communication. When you're doing the feedbacking session, it's an open communication. Okay, I didn't manage to meet this, or well done, we have met this, please continue to do this, or what else can we do for us to meet this objective? Or this objective, I think we need to tweak this way. So it opens up communication between managers and employees. It also helps set clear and achievable goals. It helps set clear and achievable goals for both managers and employees. Because sometimes as leaders, you set goals, right? You set goals, and sometimes after you set those goals, you don't make maybe provision of resources for those goals to be met. So now through the performance management processes, you'll be able to see where the goals are achievable from the manager's end and the employees, and what are the necessary components that you need for these goals to be achievable. So it helps to set clear, achievable goals for both managers and employees. So it's one of the biggest advantage of performance management. Okay, so let's also look at so the other advantage is it helps managers with managing unmet expectations. So you see from the poll that we did, 60% were saying holding people accountable. So performance management helps with how, as an organization, remember, before you do, people do their reviews or you assess them, you have a policy within the company, people sign in the contract, and then within the policy, there's a section where you talk about what do we do if a person is constantly not meeting the objectives. So performance management helps managers with managing unmet expectations. So it's actually, so everyone within our organization, this is something that is very top. So I've had people coming to say, hey, can you fire me? I'm like, I can't fire you, you know? So it's so because everything is clear of what you're expected. Because I know a lot of people do that on interviews. People lie on CVs and lie on all those kind of things. I was the one who was managing this and all those kind of things. So sometimes, depending on your recruitment process, we always find this in organizations where lo and behold, you thought you have gotten someone who is the critical person and the rightful person, and you later see that, hey, there's nothing that is coming here. And the most painful part is maybe you would have already put that person at a higher range, being paid as an executive or something like that. So, but performance management, if it's clear now, clearly set, the person has signed the expectations, obviously the policy is there's procedures of unmet expectations, then they won't have a problem of managing unmet expectation. So this system also can empower employees to take ownership, accountability, and actually hone their leadership skills there. So a person, I always hear leaders saying, difficult to manage people. If you find yourself managing people, it means that you haven't put in a process in your organization. People should be managed by the process that you have set in the company. So this system helps people being accountable on their own, accounting to themselves, because they know the goals and the expectation. It's clear, and you won't have some people who say toxic environment where the leader is shouting to say, why didn't you meet this and all those? It means your team doesn't know what accountability is like, and they don't take ownership of their personal growth and what the organization is requiring. So this system can empower them to take ownership and hone into the leadership skills, and also allows managers to celebrate high achievers with the rewards, motivates employees to stay on top of their game, and inspires others to follow suit. So remember, when you do your reviews, you say, oh, over performance, you know, how, so those feedback, sometimes the leaders are always busy to pat someone at the back. But if you have this process, because it's a process that you are doing and you have periods where we say you are doing your performance reviews, it forces you to reflect and have to recognize the people that are doing so well. So it's very, very important. These are the key advantages. So now let's look at, if you don't have it, what are you missing? Or what are the disadvantages? So you'll find out that you might be having inconsistent performance. And which means if you have inconsistent performance, you can't predict the outcome. So remember, we started by saying you need to set objectives, set key objectives. So if you have, if you don't set an objective for your company's growth, you are going to have unpredictable outcomes. It's guaranteed and it's given. So, and also you are going to see that you are suffering from inconsistent performance because you don't know whether this one is going to meet the expectations. So it's like inconsistent performance, or and you actually you suffer from unpredictable outcome. You don't know. That's why you see even in organization, when you are actually doing your management account fully, you will see that, and you have good reports, you see that last year you were on top of the game. Although yes, there are other factors obviously that affect business performance, but one of it is actually not setting clear goals and not having performance management system in place. Because when you have it in place, you are going to see where do you need to add more resource, where do you need to emphasize something from performance management. So if you don't have it, check yourself whether aren't you having inconsistent results, unpredictable outcomes as well, and low productivity. When someone doesn't have a target, it's like you are just throwing a stone aimlessly. So what effort do you need to put there? The amount of effort that if you know a goal and you have set an objective and you know what you need to hit, the amount of effort that you're going to put there will be equivalent to your target. So you will see that if you have low productivity, do you know that I've seen a lot of companies where they continuously recruit, trying to solve something because there is low productivity. They would think that the people understaffed and all those kind of things. They end up having a lot of costs because they are not seeing productivity from the current team. Please check out put in performance management, proper performance management system in place. And also, if you don't have, you actually limit your employee development. You see, always some of my team members will say like, you know what, I didn't think that I have this potential to reach this. Because of the feedback that you continuously give to the person, people start to realize that I have this capacity to develop to this end. So disadvantage, if you don't have, you're actually limiting the employee development. Employees actually may feel undervalued and demotivated because you don't have a formal system to pat them at their back, to reward them, to recognize them. And managers may actually struggle to address performance issues and meet expectations. So without really this structured framework for performance management, they can struggle to manage unmet expectations. So that's a key, those are the key disadvantages. So for now, we just want to run a poll to understand from you. If you're on our platforms, you are welcome to just put a comment. Just answer these following questions. Okay. No, people are still. Okay. So 80%, they answered no, they don't have performance management. those that are saying yes, well done to you. So you just need to evaluate that, is it meeting the objective? So 69% saying they have, 36% say they don't have, and well done to those that have already in the performance management in the, okay. Can you come here and help me here? So those ones that indicate that they need help to set them up, you can write in the chat. Can you just try to close it? Okay, so we're just going to go through the strategies. Those that have, you can just measure what you have against these few strategies or what we have spoken about right now. Those that need help, put on the chat, just maybe send a message to someone who is Brandmore with the logo Brandmore or to Star, so that we can see how we can help you set that up within your company. Okay, so these are the strategies for, can push this down. Okay, these are strategies for effective performance management system. So I've realized that some of the performance management, people have performance management systems, but some are not effective performance management systems. So if you are still having those issues that we spoke about, just go back and review your performance management. Is it effective? Is it doing you, is it doing what it should, what it's supposed to achieve within your company? So for you to look at that, make sure you have straightforward communication. It's very key to ensure employees are aligned and they know the tasks and the results that is needed. So it's very important. Straightforward communication is key to ensure employees prioritize tasks that deliver results. So you find out that you might have people that are busy working overtime, but are they working overtime to key things in the organization? Or you might find out, for example, in our company, we have actually introduced the productivity. You find out that at 1 year, before we actually also have that, I found out that we were billing a company called Brandmore more than we were billing the clients, which means the time that the people were spending, they were like administrators at some point. So it's very, very important to look at those strategies as well. Communicate tasks that deliver results. So review your goals periodically. It's a process, like what we said, you need to review the goals periodically and continuously review the goals so that at least you see you are still aligned. Prioritize training your managers on providing effective feedback, because you don't want a feedback session to be a war zone where people end up fighting. But how do leaders do that? You need to prioritize training them as well to give effective feedback to their team members. Tie performance to everyday work. So obviously, if you are working 8 hours a day, if you are working 80% of the time to something that is not, it depends with your industry, to something that doesn't have an output linked to the strategic goal, you might need to relook at that. Align performance management with organizational objectives. Very, very, very important. So you can't have objectives there and also have some expectations that are not even aligned, and the team doesn't know what to do within that. So one thing that we have found out in a lot of organizations that we have helped is this alignment. The leaders know exactly what needs to be achieved, but do everyone else, including the cleaner, know exactly, is the cleaner aligned to the objective? So that's the detail that you need to go into when you have an effective performance management. Create streamlined processes. Remember, keep it short and simple. Also, processes. When you are setting you can't have performance management system without processes in the organization. So you need to create processes so that it's clear of, this is what we do, this is what we need, this is how we're going to do it. So our standard operating procedures or clear, streamlined process within the organization. Give frequent feedback, regular engagement feedback from managers, keep everyone aligned and motivated. So these are the key few strategies that you can evaluate your performance management system and see, does it have all these key components? Is it backed up by processes? Do you have processes in place for your people that are in maybe in packing or in storage, or the people that are keeping stock or whatever? Do you have processes in place for that to be in place? So it's very, very important. So this is what to consider as well when you are setting your performance, setting your strategies. So you need to note, you need to have a step-by-step guide. So for example, you have a strategy already in place. Then from the strategy, what is the next step for the employees? Aligning the key expectation to the strategy, and how will you follow up is documented. How are the checking, how are the monitoring going to be done, and the check-in to the employees to see that everyone is aligned within the organization, and how often would the goals be reviewed and adjusted to maintain alignment with the business needs. So those core steps. So it's a guide that you need to use when you are implementing a performance management system in your organization. So I think we are almost nearing to the end of the webinar. So this is how you can implement performance management in your organization. So one, you need to develop KPIs. Secondly, you need to indicate when are you going to observe the results for every people. Some people do monthly, after quarterly, half yearly, or once a year, but once a year as well. Unless if you are good in continuous monitoring, it might actually be a problem. How do you do your first formal review? Remember, performance management, like what I said from the definition, it's a continuous conversation, day-to-day conversation. But obviously, you need to have formal reviews. But if you know that performance management is a continuous, it happens every day because people are doing tasks every day. So the objectives need to be achieved almost every day. Then organize, how do you or when do you organize training and informal follow-ups meetings? Or when do you do trainings for what? For skills for the managers on how to hold people accountable and all those kind of things. And also, how do you obtain feedback and make changes? How are you going to make changes in there? And schedule managerial meetings and training sessions. Very, very important to train your leaders, especially from small to medium organizations. Sometimes you can't afford to have people with skills already. So you find out that your people might be competent, technically competent, but then they might lack leadership training. So you need to see, when are you going to continuously train your leaders so that at least they grow with the organization and meet the expectations of the organization. Because one thing that demotivates employees is when the company is small, you have those people, they are growing with you, and you are not investing in training them. Then now you come and put people from outside to lead them, yet you are not putting plan on developing them to the next level. Obviously, it depends on the situation. There are other people that you cannot even take them to the next level. So it's very important to schedule training sessions with your managers in this performance management. So in conclusion, before I open up for questions, performance management is a crucial process for organizations of all sizes. So even if you are one-man show, please put your performance management, have a goal, set your objective. So of all sizes, it's very important. I have seen organizations that are not growing because they are not setting processes, systems, performance in place, and they are always chasing problem. Someone come, someone leave, and there's no measure, and you are all over. That is hindering the growth. So you find out leaders and now end up putting time on things that doesn't grow the organization because they didn't put processes in place. So it ensures that employees are aligned with organizational goals, foster culture of continuous improvement, and it motivates individuals to excel. And by implementing a well-structured, effective management system that emphasizes clear communication, regular feedback, and developmental opportunities, organization can unlock the full potentials of their employees and achieve tremendous success, sustainable success. So I have seen this. We have helped many organizations, and I've seen this working. Organization moving from one stage to another because of implementing effective performance management process. So at this time, I'm just going to give time for questions. Anyone in the, do you have written questions already, or because I can't see my emails?
Hi, I'm Mullen. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, good morning, guys. My name is Brayton. I'm from Royland Attorneys and Royland Legal Consultancies. Firstly, Mullen, thank you very much. I think this is a very, very important aspect of a business that a lot of SMEs and a lot of smaller operations don't really take into consideration until the point where, like you've just said, they get to a point where they move from one stage of the business to the next and there's growth. I just want to bring in one thing that I think is very important that everybody in this webinar should not forget, is that a lot of these operations, when they start implementing performance management tools, they find themselves dealing with unnecessary CCMA matters. And it is as a result of not having a very clear policy, contained either in the terms and conditions of employment, or like we would like to make use of an employee handbook that actually give these clear policies so that employees are quite aware of how they will be held accountable. And I think it would assist them if they make sure that they cover those policies and have them available and share them with the employees, as it will assist them when there's any grievances being raised against managers or senior employees. We see this happening every now and again, especially when guys try implementing these performance management tools robustly or vigorously at the start when they have it. And it's just something I do think that as business owners, we should not look past, is that when you actually implement these type of things, also just be aware that there need to be some type of changes to your HR aspect of it when it comes to dealing with your employees, because there will be changes that take place. So I just wanted to add that aspect of it, Mullen, which I do believe is quite important. But I think you covered everything very well. And I do believe, the whole aspect of holding employees accountable, there's so many, different aspects to it. But it's always good to have the foundations in place from a legal aspect to protect the company and also to protect the employees. So I'll leave my details in the chat if guys need assistance with forming or creating those documents. But I think that is just one thing I wanted to add on them, Mullen, because when the review processes start, it's usually when, disputes may occur and guys may not always be in favor of how they are being reviewed. And it's always good to have those type of policies and things in place. So I will just leave it at that, Mullen. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you very much, Brayton. So it's critical to have processes and policies in place. Like what I said, that one of the key policies that goes with performance management is the performance management policy, which outlines how you're going to do everything. And that policy is clearly need to be shared to everyone within the organization. Thanks, Brayton, for highlighting that. Any other question from anyone? Do we have any question in the chat?
Yes, Mullen, we heard from Brayton, so I don't know if he still wants it to be addressed. So he was
Okay, I think Brayton
asking.
is the one who just said now from Brayton.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. No, it's fine. So if we don't have any further questions, thank you very much. Our next webinar will be talking about the risk of using business funds for personal use and how you can actually streamline your bookkeeping or your record keeping, because we have seen cases around with SARS, where now SARS starts to audit you and they pull your bank statement as a director of a company, and they analyze that and where did this go and what, so you don't want that. So our next webinar is gonna be on the 26th of April, 10 a.m. same time. So we hope you're going to join us on that webinar for next time. So in conclusion.
Okay, before we wrap up, I think this question is very important, the one that Brighton raised in the chat. He asked that, what about reviews and disputes, especially where employees may raise grievances to the process of performance reviews? So the question that Brighton raised.
You're not audible.
Okay. Yeah, so I think Shane wanted to emphasize something you were saying.
I was actually referring to the question that Brighton raised. He asked, what about reviews and disputes, especially where employees may raise grievances to processes of performance reviews?
Okay.
So I think if you can answer that question.
What is the question? What about?
It could benefit the people in the chat, in the meeting.
Okay, employees may raise grievance to the process. Okay, I think Britain pretty much answered it as well when he was talking about having a process, a place. So remember, in an organization, you need to have your dispute resolution processes, which is where he spoke about having a handbook of when there is dispute, what happens within that organization. So which is part of your business processes as well as your business procedures within the company. Thanks for highlighting that. Okay, so in the absence of any other question, those are our details should you want to contact us to help you set objectives or implement the performance management process or any of the services that we spoke to you about. So do we have any other question before I close off that I didn't see in there? Okay, so thank you very much. So I hand over to Star.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. This is the end of the webinar.